Paige Bueckers has Paige Bueckers has the same kind of like basketball mentality of like a Kevin Durant. Like I was saying yesterday on Twitter, you should follow me also at Joe Porte. I'll be talking about basketball literally like 24/7. That's all I talk about. But yeah. So I was saying on Twitter, I was like, I'm not sure who's gonna win more championships in the WNBA out of Caitlin and Paige because Caitlin Clark is a force multiplier. Caitlin Clark is just like you put her on the team and she makes everybody around her better, right? Like everybody like players who like probably wouldn't necessarily be, you know what I'm saying, like first, second, you know what I'm saying, second, third options or wouldn't be big players on teams, they get lifted up into a spotlight when they play against somebody, when they play with somebody like Caitlin Clark, right? And then you have Paige Bueckers, who's kind of like that Kevin Durant mode. She kind of has that mode where it's like, hey, I can honestly come in and I can fit in anywhere. So like if you were to come in and you were to put Paige Bueckers on, you know what I'm saying, the Las Vegas Aces, or you put her on the New York Liberty, I think that she literally fits in there seamlessly like a glove because she can play off the ball, she can play with the ball in her hand, she can play make, she can defend, she can do everything. But Caitlin Clark is somebody who she can single-handedly change your fate of your entire team because her three-point game is so goddamn dynamic. Her ability to play make is so like, I think it's almost underrated. Like just how like she's able to make the game so much easier for everybody around her. Like she reminds me so much of Luka Doncic, just in terms of like how she makes the game around her how she makes the game around her for everybody else so much easier. But like she makes it look like she's just out there having the time of her life, throwing behind the back passes, throwing like she had a couple of like really like weird turnovers in the first half against LSU because she was just trying to throw the ball like haphazardly. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. Anyway, I just think that this UConn and Iowa matchup is going to be fantastic. I cannot wait for it. So yeah, I think if I'm gonna go with a prediction, if I'm gonna make a prediction, I'm going to say I got UConn winning, man. I got UConn beating Iowa. I just think that Paige is too much, bro. I think that Paige is too much, and I think that Paige also has a gear that we have yet to see. Like I think that we have established that, you know what I'm saying, that we can see that Caitlin Clark, when she goes off and she gives you 40, that will give Iowa's best chance to be in the game and potentially win the game. We haven't seen that yet for Paige Bueckers. We haven't seen a point where she's like, hey, you know what? I'm going to take this game over. Like she's done it in fourth quarters, but we haven't seen her do it over the course of the entire game. And I think that if this game ever comes down to, you know what I'm saying, just Caitlin versus Paige, matchup for matchup, because I think that Paige will be able to guard Caitlin. Now whether that will hinder her on the offensive end, we'll have to see. But I think that if we see that match, if the game does dissolve into Caitlin versus Paige, I have to say, this is probably my first time saying it live, I think that Paige is probably a better overall player. I think that Paige is probably a better overall player. I think that her supporting cast is probably a little bit better overall. So I'm going with UConn, man. I'm going with the UConn Huskies.